Welcome to EmComm Solutions. Jake here. So if you haven't heard, Google announced back in August of this year, 2025, their plans on applying new restrictions on side-loading apps or using third-party apps like from F-Droid or things like that. So this could change Android forever, especially for small developers or anyone who relies on open source ecosystems. Today we're going to go over how that can impact people that are likely watching this video, people that use mesh radios like Meshtastic, MeshCore, and Reticulum, and what I think about Google's announcements. What's the real reason other than what they've given? So let's get into a high-level breakdown. Really what this shift is requiring verification, stricter verification process for developers that are trying to have a app on the Play Store, and then blocking the ability to be able to sideload apps. Now, there has been a new announcement to that. Google is compromised, and we'll talk about that here in a second, but what does that verification process look like? Is the developer would have to pay a fee, agree to Google's terms and services, provide a government ID, and then uploading evidence of their developer's private signing key, and then list current and future application identifiers. So what Google did recently after some pressure from the community was, look, we'll compromise and we'll create something called advanced flow for experienced users, but it's intended for developers and other power users with a higher risk tolerance. So we don't know what this is going to look like, but it doesn't sound as good as it may seem. I think some people think it's a win. I'm not so sure about that. So what is the timeline for all this? Well, they're planning on starting rolling out in September 2026 through 2027. I'm sure there'll be some changes to that. And of course, the first devices to be affected will be the Pixel phones by Google, and then Samsung, and then other OEMs within the space as they adopt the new Android policy. Why does this hurt small developers and free open source software projects? Is real, it's the real world impacts is, think small business versus big box business type model, where those big things like to buy up market space and shut down these small businesses. Most of these developers they don't have a business. Some of them do, some of them don't, but it's part-time. They're hobbyists. And most of them are not profit driven, and it just really goes against that whole decentralization idea and increases barriers to entry and is going to harm innovation, in my opinion. Experimental apps, beta testing, rapid iterations, all those things are going to become harder under these tight controls, especially for small developers. It's the big developers, the big software companies and app developing companies, no big deal to them. They've got a huge staff of people, bigger budgets, so on and so forth. It's going to hurt the little guy once again. Now, and it's also next, I would say, it's definitely possibly monopolistic behavior, and that's one of my biggest concerns. Think about it this way. You have, whether you use Windows or Mac or whatever, even Linux for that matter, you don't have to go on the Windows Play Store and only can download from there. You can go to any website on the internet and download software onto your laptop or your desktop computer. So why is it that they're trying to do this with phones? I have some opinions on that, but so how's this going to affect you as a Meshtastic user, MeshCore user, Reticulum user? Well, with Meshtastic and MeshCore, their apps are on the Play Store. Now with Meshtastic, the ATAC plugin is not. It's downloaded from their GitHub page. Now, will they go through the process and get on the Google Play Store? Probably. Reticulum, I don't know. I don't know if Reticulum will go through that process. So could this kill Reticulum? MeshCore, they're already available. I don't know of any plugins available for MeshCore. You let me know in the comments down below if some will be affected. But just think about this. It's going to affect, there's a lot of ATAC plugins out there that are small developer projects, privacy-based applications that are small developing projects. All this is going to be impacted, and it's a loss of freedom. It's more control. And Google's claim is that it's based off of security, malware prevention, and EcoFlow integration or something like that. So is there malicious apps out there? Absolutely. But I feel like it should still be the user's responsibility to take that risk. If they decide to download some shady app that was texted to them by some scammer and get scammed, it sucks for them, and I'm sorry, but you should know better. You maybe do some reading. But anyways, what are our options? So I'm going to say the first one is support your small developers and open source projects. Support things like F-Droid. So if you've got a favorite small developer project, sometimes they have a donate link on their GitHub. You can support them that way. There's probably an interim patch, but I don't think it would last for very long, and it could put you definitely at more risk when it comes to security updates. Is you could stay on an older version of Android, which would probably work for a little while until you started having a lot of problems with your applications on there. So I would personally just wouldn't recommend that. As the benefits versus risks there is probably not there. Custom ROMs like the Google phones, like Lineage OS, Graphene OS, Calypso OS, these devices still allow full controllability. However, it could, and have Google's grab it power here, grab it control could definitely potentially cause issues with even app developers for those. So we'll see how this all rolls out. Lastly, but probably most importantly, I would pressure and advocate, even though Google capitulated a little bit here with that whole advanced flow thing, but as they already said, that's meant for developers. So who knows what type of barriers to that they're going to create. We don't know what it's going to look like at this point. So check out a website I'll have linked over here and down below. Keep Android open. There's a lot of instructions in there. I suggest you go over there, read through that. It has email links for your region, wherever you are in the world, to email the appropriate entities to voice your concerns about what Google's trying to do, and move on from there. Final thoughts. Let's keep Android open. Reach out, advocate, share with like-minded friends, family, whoever. Get them to reach out. Let's keep Android open. Let's push back on this big grab for control. And if you want to support the channel, you can hit that thumbs up. You subscribe. You can check out my social media links, websites, other links. Thanks for watching.